One thing I realized since I started studying sales psychology is that a lot of businesses are struggling not because their product is bad, they are struggling because of how they communicate with customers, and they communicate with customers from the wrong perspective. The crazy part is some of us are doing it without even realizing it. So for the next 30 days, I'll be challenging myself to study sales psychology extensively, not just read books or try to make or understand those books, but basically to research exactly what sales psychology is and how I can use sales psychology to help people, to help business owners. I'm not just going to be watching videos, repeat somebody's input or what somebody has said before or what somebody said somewhere. I'm not going to be doing any of that. I'm going to be making an extensive research, and I'm going to be picking 3 businesses and try to relate every single thing I have learned with these businesses. I'm going to be able to analyze real businesses, real adverts, and real customers' problem. And at the end of 30 days, I am going to be analyzing and trying every single thing I've worked on 3 businesses for free. You don't need to pay me a single dime. I would be doing it for free. I'm going to diagnose their sales problem using what I've learned and implement what I believe will help them, and document the entire process as a case study. So if you're a business owner, you're selling on Instagram, you're running ads, or you're creating content, and you are wondering, why are people seeing my products but they are not buying? This series is for you. And today we are starting something I think every business owner needs to understand. Started this journey with the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I've read the first 6 chapters. And why this isn't technically a sales book, I started seeing so many things that can be applied to selling directly. Because at the end of the day, you are not selling to an algorithm, you're selling to a human being. And if you don't understand the human being, you can have the best products, the best advert, the best website, and still struggle to convert sales. So let's talk about what I have learned so far. One of the things I learned from this book is that people don't criticize their action. When people do something wrong, they try to justify why they did it. As much as people crave for approval, we dread condemnation. That got me thinking about marketing, because sometimes as business owners, we talk as if we are correcting customers. We say things like, you're doing this wrong, you're wasting your money. If you're still doing this, then you are the reason why you are not getting it right, or you're the reason why you're not getting results. All of these seem like correction rather than persuasion, and we think we are educating them, but the customer may not hear education, may hear you are stupid, you've been doing everything wrong, you don't know what you're doing. And when you make someone feel attacked, they don't necessarily begin to open to your product, they don't want to hear what you have to say. You have already closed that gap, and they become kind of very defensive. And I actually caught myself doing this in one of my ads, like my own ads. Yes, I was advertising our weight gain products, Gainy Plus sets. And I said something. I was like, the truth about gaining weight is that gaining weight is not about eating more, it is about getting enough calories consistently. Now, when I wrote that, I wasn't trying to enforce or criticize. I wasn't trying to criticize anybody. I was trying to explain the importance of gaining calories. I was trying to explain calorie intake. But do you know that some people actually saw that in a wrong light? Some people got the information wrongly. But when I went back and I listened to that ad from the customer's perspective, I thought, wait, how could somebody actually interpret this? And that made me understand that someone may have think that, are you trying to say I am eating wrong? Are you saying I eat a lot? Are you saying I'm a glutton? You know, like those are the kind of things the customer is hearing. What I am saying is different, but what the customer is hearing is totally different. And that's when I realized something. Your intention is not always what the customer interprets. You might actually is saying this thing and the customer is interpreting a different thing. And there's something I want business owners to actually know and think about deeply. Before you put something out there, Try to understand and look at that thing from the customer's point of view. Don't just assume that you're trying to educate or you're trying to explain. Try to understand and see that thing from the customer's light. Ask, what am I trying to say? How is the customer going to interpret what I am saying? Because at the end of the day, customer is important. And your goal isn't to communicate. Your goal is to communicate in a way that the other person can actually receive the same knowledge or the same thing you're trying to communicate to them. So instead of saying you're doing this all wrong, you can say the reason why you've not been getting results is the fact that you may have been missing this particular thing. Then you say whatever you want to say. Now, this is actually giving the same context, like you're saying the same thing. It is a different psychological experience, but the customer is not hearing I am stupid. Another thing that stood out to me was the idea of one of the deepest principles in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. People want to feel important, and when I read that, I started thinking about how much of marketing revolves around this. Because people don't only buy products, they also buy what the product makes them feel about themselves. Think about it. Someone isn't necessarily buying an expensive watch because they need to know the time. Someone isn't buying a luxury bag because they don't have anything to carry their belongings in. Sometimes there is something deeper. It could be status, it could be identity, it could be confidence, it could be the feeling of achievement. It could simply be, this is the kind of person I see myself becoming. And this is where businesses need to understand something. When you are selling, don't only ask, what does my product do? Ask, what does my product do, and what does getting these results means to the customer? Because there is a difference. If I sell skincare, the customer may not simply want skincare. She may want to feel confident going outside without worrying about her skin. If I sell clothes, the customer may simply not be worried about clothes. This customer may feel, I want to feel beautiful when she walks into a room. If I sell business courses, the customer may not simply want information. They may want to become the kind of business owner who understands how to acquire customers and grow their business. So when you're creating that marketing, think about the products. Think beyond the products. Think about the person your customer wants to become. This was probably one of the biggest lessons I took from these chapters. The book keeps bringing you back to one fundamental idea. Think about what the other person wants, because who really cares about what you want? You want to make sales. You want people to buy your product. You want to hit your target. You want to make money. But the customer doesn't wake up in the morning thinking, how can I help this business owner hit at sales targets today, right? The customer is thinking about their own problem, and that's normal. Humans naturally think about themselves, and if you're selling, your job is to understand, why does this person want this? What problem are they trying to solve? What are they afraid of? What result are they looking for? What would make them feel like buying this product with a good decision? And this is where I want you to understand the difference between features and benefits. Let's say I'm selling a product and I tell you this product contains slippery elm, okra powder, and honey goat weed. These are just features. But the customer is thinking, okay, and what? What does this mean for me? What does it help me do? What experience am I supposed to get from this? Why should I choose yours over another product containing similar ingredients? I actually noticed this while analyzing one of my own ads. It was one of the best performing ads I have running at the moment. And when I went to analyze it, I realized something very interesting. The ad talked a lot about ingredients. It talked about the formulation. It talked about how carefully tested and refined the product was, but it didn't go enough to give enough communication to the customer's desired outcome or provide enough proof. And that's when I realized an ad can perform well and still have weaknesses. Maybe the products already have demand. Maybe people already know the product. Maybe the creative is strong. Maybe the visual is convincing. Maybe the audience is right. Maybe the offer is good. So as marketers, we cannot simply say this is the best-selling ad. there is this perfect copy. We need to ask, why is this ad selling? It's a completely different level of thinking. This is so important because a lot of business owners start their marketing with, this is what I sell, but your customer is starting somewhere completely different. Let's say you sell perfume. You think, I sell perfume oils. The customer may be thinking, I want to smell really good without spending 200,000 naira on a perfume. You sell skincare. You think, I sell skincare products. The customer may be thinking, I'm tired of looking at my skin and not liking what I see. You sell a digital marketing course. You think, I teach Meta ads. The customer may be thinking, I have spent money on ads and I don't even understand why I'm not making sales. Do you see the difference? The product is the same, but the customer's problem gives the product a meaning. So before you create the next advert, ask yourself, what problem is my customer actually trying to solve? Not what product am I trying to sell? Because the problem your customer is trying to solve is often more important than the product you're trying to sell. Another thing I learned is that genuine interest in people is incredibly powerful. And I think this is one of the areas a lot of salespeople are missing it. They are trying to sell so hard that they forget to actually understand the person they are selling to. And one of the most underestimated sales skills is listening. Sometimes somebody enters your DM and says, how much? And immediately you send 35,000 naira. That's it. Conversation over. But what if instead you understand the person? What are you looking for? What have you tried before? What's their concern? What results are they trying to get? What is stopping them from buying? Because when you listen, you get information, and information helps you sell better. Even objections become very useful. If 10 customers keep telling you, I am interested, but I'm not sure this will work for me, that's information. If people keep saying, I don't understand how this works, that's information. If people keep asking, can I pay instrumentally? That's information. Your customer are literally telling you how to improve your marketing, and you just have to learn to listen. Say less and listen more. Another principle that came through strongly is about appreciation, not flattery, appreciation. There is a difference. Flattery is when you tell somebody something nice because you want something from them. Appreciation is genuine. And I think businesses can use this in a very simple way. Your customers are not just numbers, they are people. When someone gives you feedback, appreciate it. When someone has been buying from you for years, acknowledge it. When someone recommends you, acknowledge it. When someone gets results from your products, celebrate the results. Because when people feel seen and appreciated, they are more likely to want to continue engaging with you. And this applies internally too. If you have employees, don't only talk when they make mistakes. Because Dial said something that really struck me. We are quick to notice what people do wrong and very slow to acknowledge what they do right. And that's something we see everywhere. Someone does something wrong once and everybody remembers it. Someone does something right 20 times and everybody becomes used to it. So if you want more of a behavior, recognize and encourage it. And this brings me to some more practical lessons I picked up. The power of a smile, the power of remembering someone's name, the power of listening, the importance of talking about things that interest the other person. These things sound very simple, but simple doesn't mean insignificant. Think about Instagram businesses. Imagine you have a customer who has been buying for you for over 2 years, and every time they DM you, you treat them like a completely new person. Compare that with, oh, you're back. How was the last one? Did it work for you? That feels different. The customer feels remembered. They feel like there have been a human relationship there. And that's where customer loyalty can start becoming much stronger than simply buy this product. After reading all of this chapter, the biggest question I asked myself is, what if this problem isn't that people don't want your products? What if they simply want to understand why they should want it? And those are two completely different problems. Maybe your product isn't bad. Maybe your marketing is
talking too much about you. Maybe you're talking about your ingredients instead of the customer's desired result. Maybe you're criticizing the customer without even realizing it. Maybe you're not listening to their objections. Maybe you're not showing enough proof. Maybe you're telling them that you want them to know instead of communicating what they actually care about. Maybe your offer is fine, but your customer doesn't understand the value. And that's why sales psychology is important. Because before you start changing products, changing your prices, changing your logo, changing your Instagram page, changing your ads every 2 days, understand the person you are trying to sell to.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know everything about sales psychology just because I read 6 chapters of a book. Nah, I'm researching, I'm testing, I am making videos, I am learning, I am studying, I'm doing every single thing, and I know I will make a whole lot of mistakes, and that's the point of this whole thing. So for the next 30 days, I'm going to be studying sales psychology. I'm going to be reading books, I'm going to be watching videos, I'm going to be hearing what experts has to say on certain topics, and I'm going to be trying to test it out on businesses online. I've actually started because today I was able to get some ads on Instagram that I analyzed, and I was able to say, oh, what is the issue in this ad? Why would this ad not convert? Why would customer resist this particular type of ad? Why is the communication this way? So analyzing every single word that people use to market, words that they should not use during marketing, I basically did all of that today, and I'm so proud of myself. So I'm going to be doing this for businesses in the long run. I'm looking for 3 businesses that will allow me work with them. I'm not asking you to pay. It is totally free. I'm not trying to sell you a consulting package. No. We're going to be testing every single thing I learn in the next 30 days on your business. We're going to be analyzing your sales, your messaging, your offers, your advertising, your objection, your customer experience. We are going to be analyzing all of this, and we are going to identify where there are issues, where there are psychological gaps, so that we can work on them. And when we work on them, we see if it works or if it doesn't. And if it works, we try to identify why it works, and if it doesn't, we try to identify why it didn't work. So this is not a channel where you get another book and another book, or we tell you to get another book. We want you to learn from real theory and real practical. So I'm going to be doing a lot of talking, but I'm going to be doing a lot of practicals. Like, I'm going to basically carry you through the process of helping these 3 brands, what I did for them, what I think they can do better. Every single thing, we are going to work on it together on this channel after 30 days of learning about sales psychology. And I hope you're on this journey with me, because this is something I believe would work, and I am just not too sure of myself. I know I'm going to face challenges in the long run, but the idea is to make a business that is almost crumbling grow. So at the end of the day, what am I trying to say in essence? If you're a business owner and you want this opportunity, you want to work with me, send me a message or drop a message for me. I'm going to reach out to you, or I'm going to send you a way you can reach out to me, so that we can have the conversation and put your brand into consideration. So if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you are just somebody that is interested in studying why people buy, do subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be analyzing all of this in this channel. Everything that has to do with sales psychology will be analyzed in this channel, and I would want you to go on that journey with me, because we are not just going to be talking theory, we are going to test it out on real businesses. And if you want me to use your business as a case study, you can always drop a comment, and I will reach out to you and get all the information I need.